My very first Phoenix Bass Fishing League tournament, better known as BFLs. But whichever one you want to call it, it's a great fishing league. And you know what? They do a great job running it. I was extremely happy to be a part of their first one at the Upper Bay. I didn't know what to expect. This is new for me. It's been at least 10 years since I have done a draw tournament where you don't know who's going to be running behind you. Usually I'm either by myself or I have a buddy fishing behind me that's on my same team. But you know what? This couldn't have went any better, really. I ended up getting an angler. His name's Bill from Wilkes-Barre, PA. What a guy. Positivity, just loves to fish. The perfect kind of guy you would want to have on your boat. I would take him any day of the week on my boat. Going into this event, it was very, very tricky because I did get some pre-fishing in. I can admit that I never really found the fish that I thought were going to win a tournament. So I was really going into Saturday kind of hoping for some big bites, probably like a lot of other anglers that were in this tournament. But I did think that with what I found prior to Friday, that I was on probably 11 to a 14-pound bag. That's about what I was going to have. Now Friday comes and we decide to go pre-fishing, which was a really windy day. Really, you had fronts coming through, really windy. So what I did was we took the boat and trailer and we just kind of went to a couple different rivers to check out, a few different things. And there's a lot to learn at each one of these rivers. And I really got on a pattern at the end of the day that was pre-spawn fish that were exactly where they should be. They were hitting chatterbaits, and I thought to myself, well, this might be an area that I can go to, have to myself, and catch a limit quickly. And you know what? Maybe if I grind, there's some really big fish here. This is playing in my mind as I'm driving back to the room. And I knew from the weather that we were going to have a 10 to 15 mile an hour northwest wind going into Saturday. So I'm not going to lie, I was a little nervous. Okay, it's my first event. It's a heck of a run, and I don't want to put myself or anybody else at risk. Okay, it's just not worth it to me. But I did find fish. So let's forward to tournament fishing day. So I meet Bill first thing in the morning. He's got his gear, he's ready to go, pumped up, I'm pumped up, not nervous. It's just another day of fishing. I always look at fishing that way. It's just another day of fishing. But I was a little bit nervous about this run. I told him, I said, Bill, we're going to make this run. He goes, okay, I'm with you. Our boat gets called, boat 70, and we start heading south. We get to about Turkey Point, and it's pretty rough. I mean, from all the boats, from the wind, from the waves, it's pretty rough. And I thought to myself, there's no way we're going to make it right now without taking a beating. The boat, ourselves, our equipment, I don't think it's worth it. So at that moment, I decided to make a hard right, went across the flat to an area that there was about 15 boats. It was an area that I found during practice, and obviously so did everybody else. And we get there, and we start fishing, and I'm looking at other people, they're looking at me, and it's one of those deals where my confidence is just telling me, Nick, this isn't you. If you're going to fall on the sword your way. If you're going to go down swinging. So the wind died down, all the boats were kind of settled. I lost about a half an hour, 45 minutes there, and I said to Bill, I'm really sorry. I know you probably think I'm spun out, but I'm not. I just want to go where I want to go. And he goes, Nick, I'm with you. So it was a really good decision waiting because it was a nice run to there. Okay, we get there, and immediately I catch one on a chatterbait, which I'll show you lures later. I immediately catch one. I'm all excited. But from there to about an hour and a half, I think I caught 2 or 3 dinks. I lost another fish that might have made 15-inch. I can't say. We go back to where I caught the first one, and I flipped up another one, 2.5, 3 pounds. Now I'm back at confidence. I got 2 keepers, plenty of time, and this and that. Bill's telling me the whole time, Nick, you got plenty of time. It's going to happen. Yep, I agree with you. Well, as time goes by, we're starting to run out of time now. It was about 11:30, 12 o'clock, and I said to Bill, I said, maybe we should start heading back up. I got some spots that I still think we can catch our limits. He goes, no problem, Nick. We head back up north. Now, it was a little rough ride because there was, again, that 10 to 15 mile an hour northwest wind. And it got a little rough. Heading north, I was hugging that shoreline as close as I could to stay out of the wind. And this Nitro really performed well. I can't complain about it at all. We didn't get wet, and it could have been ugly. If I would have got out in that channel, the main channel, it would have been ugly, but we stayed nice and dry. We get back up north. Immediately, I start catching a few dinks. I put the third fish in the boat, and now I'm really pumped up because now I got 3 fish. I got about 2 hours left to put 2 more fish in the boat. I lost another fish, probably around a 2-pounder. That one got off, caught some more dinks. We ended up leaving that area, heading over to some just secluded spots I had, and got on the first one, caught a dink. It's like, man, got to the second one, lost a 4 to a 5-pound fish. And, it's hard to replace those type fish. And I wasn't on fish to replace that one, but that's the way it goes. It just wasn't meant to be. With those post-front conditions, the fish weren't biting correctly. I think everybody can agree on that. And that fish just did not get the bait the way I needed it to, and it got off. Hey, it happens. After that, we went to a few more areas, caught a few more dinks, and just never got another keeper bite. And headed back to the weighing scales with 3. I'm not disappointed in that. It was a tough day. I knew what I could bring into the scales was around that 11 to 14 pound weight. It wasn't going to be enough to win. So that gamble I took was well worth it to me. If I wouldn't have went down there, I could have been talking to you right now second guessing, well, I should have went down to the fish I found. Hey, I went down there and it just didn't happen. Okay, it just wasn't happening. Came back, I salvaged a good day, a 36 out of 150 anglers for my very first Phoenix Bass Fishing League tournament. Could not be more happier. Now you're probably wondering, what baits did I use? Let's check it out. Now we get to talk about our favorite topic, and that is tips, tricks, lures, rods, and reels. So as we went down south, one of the things I was doing was throwing bladed jigs. And I had a 1-2 punch that you're going to see here. I had this bladed jig here is actually made by a buddy of mine. And he does a real good job. I'll link him below. It's like a perch color. It's got a great hook on there. This has an awesome action to it. Just a lot of vibration, a lot of movement. And I had a trailer on there. It's a Kitech 3.8. Okay, in another perch color. That was with a Cast King Speed Demon Pro chatterbait rod. I had this with a Bassinator Classic 8:1-to-1 gear ratio that really allows me to slow down if I want to, or there's a lot of speed there. And then 15-pound fluorocarbon line. Now that second part of that 1-2 punch is going to be a jackhammer. I don't know how you can have a bladed jig arsenal without that jackhammer. It's just so prevalent today. And for some reason, these fish just know it's a jackhammer. Got to have it. You'll see, again, kind of a perch color, the same trailer on the back, that Kitech 3.8. Now, this rod here is one of my favorite rods by Cast King. Why? Because I can do so many things with it. It's so versatile. It's a 7-1 medium heavy Para G2. It's just a great rod. Again, 8:1-to-1 gear ratio, Bassinator Classic, 15-pound fluorocarbon, we're good to go. So that's my 1-2 punch with my bladed jigs. Next, and this is what I caught my second fish on, my second keeper. Again, I'm catching dinks as the day's going on. But my second keeper came on a Missile Baits. This is an Ike mini flip jig, all right, with a Strike King crawl type trailer. This was on a 7.5 flipping rod, Speed Demon Pro, Cast King. Now this reel here is very special because it's the first time I ever really used it. And this is a Speed Demon Elite reel, an 8:6 to 1 gear ratio. Also comes in a 10.5, but you know what, 8.6 is fast enough for me, and it just works perfect with that flipping bait. So 20-pound fluorocarbon, and those fish didn't have a chance. And then my third option that, you know, I caught a lot of fish with, a lot of dinks, and I lost a keeper with it, and I caught a keeper with it, was this Bitsy Bug jig, Strike King Bitsy Bug with a Riot Baits Tantrum trailer. Again, I'll link everything on the description below, but that's a great little finesse bait. I had it on a Speed Demon Pro jig worm rod. This is actually a spinning outfit, as you can see. This is a Sharky 3 reel, 3000 series. This is a 12-pound Cast Pro braid to a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. And that was basically my setup for that day. During practice, I did catch some fish on a 1.5. Couldn't make it happen on tournament day. And I also caught some fish on a shaky head. Again, just could not get those tactics to work. I think as the year goes on, as you get to know me, you're going to find that I'm a junk fisherman. You know, I kind of just feel something, go with it, and make it happen. But that's my arsenal. To recap this tournament, what an experience. It was just fantastic. I had a great co-angler. I made, for the most part, good decisions. There was a lot of decisions to make. I wouldn't really go back and do it any different. I wish I could have capitalized on a few opportunities I had with fish. I would have came in with that, 12 to 14 pound bag that I thought I could. But that's fishing. All in a day's fishing. Sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it don't. I hope going forward I make more good decisions on the water and have plenty of great adventures to talk about. You know, one thing that you can take away from this, other than baits and just the experience, is, not to overthink this fishing deal. It's very, very easy to overthink everything. Okay, sometimes you just got to go fishing. And that's what it's all about. Whether it's a tournament or it's just a fun day on the water, try not to treat it any different, okay? You're there to have fun. You're there to have a good time. Do you want to win? Absolutely. You wouldn't be involved in a tournament if you didn't want to. But I think the less stress you put on yourself, the less that you get spun out because it's a tournament day, the better the decisions you're going to make, and the better you're going to be able to come back from adversity through that day. So keep that in mind in your next adventure, your next tournament, and I hope to see you again in my next recap. And as I always say, there's no such thing as a bad day on the water.